Welcome back to the channel, guys. I hope you're having a great evening. So, interesting video today. We're going to talk about the data suggesting you spend 93% of your entire life staring at a screen, wasting time you can't get back, and wasting life, right? So, we're going to watch this video. It's actually a TED Talk, right? Done by, I believe his name is Dino Alaguino. Let me see if I can find his name here. I'll try to leave it in the description box. But we're going to, from the Bitcoin MYK, our universal basic income social media platform, we're going to watch this video and get into the cost of spending 93% of your life staring at a screen, whether that be via social media, the cost of social media, whether it be, losing that time you could be doing other things with, bettering yourself, getting, education somewhere, seeing the world, right? Experiencing life out there. But you're not getting it because 93% of your time's glued to a screen, whether it be at work or then from work to home or some social media site that's taking tremendous costs from you. You're getting nothing in return. Now, of course, social media has value and being online has value and all those sorts of things, depending on how you use the time. But when you hear data that suggests 93% of your life and your time is glued to a screen, that's not living life. And my comparison with that in universal basic income is, at least with universal basic income, right? When we think of something like people receiving money, that money is also going to be basically a composition, right, or composed of energy and time. As to say, in a sense, you get the energy and time back, right? It's almost like it's transferable. So, in other words, let's say I did something where I lost $1,000 worth of time, maybe glued to a screen, whether it be work or whether it's just something like being on social media is costing me my time. And you received $1,000, right, in universal basic income. Well, now that can be, in a sense, replaced, right? Now you can go take that money and live life, experience some aspect of life on that time and energy that's this transferable money, right? But anyway, to kind of make more sense, let's look at some of this TED Talk video about how this person Dino, and I can't remember his last name. We'll try to leave a link in the description of this video, but we're gonna look at some of his TED Talk and discuss what does this feel like and the tremendous cost, what it's costing us to be in this situation.
By providing space for constant evolution, we can all transform how we view ourselves and the world around us. Bear with me, everybody. I'm going to start off today on a little bit of a heavy note, but I promise things will lighten up. The dots on this screen represent an adult life in months, assuming a life expectancy of 90. So if you're 18 years old right now, this is an optimistic estimate of the months that you have left. Take a second to take that in.
In case you didn't get that, and I think he's being a great deal generous with saying you reach at 90 years old. Life expectancy is probably early 80s or something like that. If that high, right? It was 78. It might be just getting around 80 now. So he's gracefully giving you another 10 years. But if you were to actually have that amount of time, you're only experiencing about 30 months of that time when you factor in all of the other things you do in life, you got to include sleep, work, and many other things I'm sure he's going to get into.
Not as many as you would expect. And I'm sorry to say that it does get worse, because about a third of that time is going to be spent sleeping. On average, 126 of those months will go to school and your career. About 18 will be spent driving, 36 cooking and eating, 36 doing chores and errands, and about 27 in the bathroom and taking care of personal hygiene. So that leaves you with 334 months, optimistically, for everything else.
Think about that, guys. 334 months to basically do something that we would probably call living. You know, the other things he mentioned seem to be basic, functional things that we have to do.
So this is where you tick the boxes on your bucket list. This is where you pursue your passions and travel the world and leave your mark. How you spend this time is going to determine the quality of your life. But this time isn't just something that you spend, it's also something that you invest. Because what you do with it will quite literally determine the kind of person you become. The body, mind, and character that you will have in the future are being actively shaped by how you choose to use your time today. So take a second and ask yourself.
So when you think about it like that, guys, and you're on social media all day, do you ever think about it in terms like that you go to work for 8 hours, you sleep for 8 hours, that leaves you about 8 hours to do the things you got to do at home. And that's not leaving you a whole lot of time to live. And so what he's saying is that processing that time, how we process that time, is very important, right?
What do you want to do with that free time? What things do you want to do that you haven't done? Who do you want to spend that time with? What is worth investing it in? Now, I would be willing to bet that scrolling through TikTok, binge watching Netflix, and playing video games probably did not come to mind. But today, the average 18-year-old in the United States is on pace to spend 93% of their remaining free time looking at a screen.
93%, guys, of the time you have left to live looking at a screen. That's your free time. Remember, this is the time that you get to do what you want in a very limited life. And many of the things we consider living life that you would do to maximize that time, to utilize that time in the best possible way, you probably can't do it because you probably don't have the resources to do it as well. So you're not only just wasting your time staring at a screen. And you know, some people, I'm not saying people don't enjoy their online activities. What I'm saying, like the speaker is saying, is that you don't want to go down as the person who spent 93% of their free time looking at a screen.
That is not counting time for school. So, wrap your head around how sad that is. Imagine getting to the age of 90, seeing this visualization of how you spent all your time after the age of 18, and thinking about all the things you could have done that you did not do because you got distracted. And I also want you to ask yourself, what do you think over 26 years of screen time would do to you? What is that an investment in? How would it change you? It's well established that there's a link between high screen time and mental health issues such as depression.
So guys, the data is now suggesting that even by doing this, you're creating mental health concerns for yourselves, right? Do you understand that? Very serious topic, guys, because the reason you got to be careful with this stuff, because these kind of things can go overlooked. You know, in day-to-day life, you're moving around. It's always something happening. You always got to be somewhere. You always got to do something. You always got to get somewhere. You always got to take care of that thing, pay this bill, pay that bill. And so I don't think it leaves much time for us to process these type things.
And anxiety. But recently, we've started to unveil the cognitive consequences of excessive tech use as well. When we're staring at our screens, we are constantly switching our attention between different pieces of information. The average TikTok is about 15 seconds long, and over 55% of web pages are viewed for 15 seconds or less. And if you're switching your attention every 15 seconds for an average of 8 hours and 39 minutes a day, you are training yourself to become chronically distracted. Think about what that will do to your career, to your relationships, and to your ability to pursue the things that matter most to you. Unfortunately, the consequences of screen time are not limited to our mental health and our cognition, because every social media platform carries a message that affects what we believe. They influence the way we see ourselves and the way we see the world purely based on how they are designed.
So that means social media is this powerful, or could be this powerful, mind control system, and you're sitting there like a drone or a zombie, and it's telling you what to think, what to buy, right? A big control mechanism. You know, look at where you're looking at this video from, right? BitcoinMYK.com, right? Our universal basic income social network that we created to be decentralized and controlled by the people, right? So that the people got all the value from it, and they decided where the platform went. But imagine entities that control systems like this, and they control your mind. They control who you vote for. They control what you buy. They control where you put your time, where you put 93% of your life staring at a screen.
Instagram inherently says that your worth is largely defined by what you look like and what you do on vacations. It compels you to capture all the most meaningful moments of your life on camera and share them with your entire social network. And it implicitly says that it's more valuable to have 1,000 people that will give you transient social approval than a few that deeply care about you, even when it's not your best day.
So you understand what he's saying there. All of these virtual people we don't know online that we're making so very important to the value of our lives and what we value in lives, to the point, real physical people in our proximity, you know, their opinions are less important. The interactions with them are less important because you're on social media with 1 million followers, right? Or something like that. Or you're too busy watching the content or the influence of these people.
Snapchat inherently says that the quality of our relationships is best measured by the frequency of our communication, regardless of what we're actually saying. You get a point added to your Snapchat streak, even if you just send a picture of the side of your face with the caption streaks. Twitter says that anything worth saying can and should be reduced to an arbitrary number of characters. It says that the world is black and white, that it's more important to be updated about everything than deeply informed about anything. And when
He's doing a great job of breaking down the power of social media, but I should say the power, not from our perspective of being the users of social media, but from the power of the entities that control the social media, right? We're drones, right, in that. But he's breaking it down a great way of how we're being used.
you start to compare the messages these platforms are sending with those of technologies from the past, you begin to get a sense of what we might be losing. Because the inherent structure of a book says that the world is complex and it takes time to understand. It compels us to walk in the shoes of other people and see things from their perspective with context. And it forces us to focus on one train of thought for an extended period of time, which nurtures our attention. And the letter tells us that our communication doesn't need to be frequent. It just needs to be deep. So when you factor all that in, it quickly becomes clear that the opportunity cost of this screen time is impossible to calculate.
Those are good points. So it's coming down to how much is it costing us to be on social media, right? Because that time's being, as all these social media platforms vie for your attention, that time's being monetized, but it's not going in your pocket, it's going in their pocket. But it's still costing you something because that's time, distraction, and energies that is being pulled away from your life, that the very limited time you have to experience life. Because remember, third of it's at work, third of it's you're sleeping, and the third that you have left, he calculated, comes out to about 300 months, and you got to get everything done in that that 300 months, and they go quick, boy do they.
And I have never shown this visualization to anyone that actually wants to spend 93% of their remaining free time staring at a screen.
93% of the only consciously accessible, important free time that's going to matter to you, that's your own time. And it's all been put away on the screen, put to a screen, right? Wasted on a screen.
So there's a stark difference between how much time we say our screens are worth and how much time we actually give them. And it is critical to realize that is not an accident. That is by design. It's a consequence of a business model that has incentives which are fundamentally misaligned with your well-being. Because you are the product that social media sells.
You are the product that social media sells. You don't get anything for it, right? But it's also, as he stated, a business model not in line with your best interests, right?
These services are free because they are monetizing you. They profit by helping advertisers change your future behavior, whether that be where you spend your time, how you spend your money, or even who you vote for.
Imagine that, guys, who you vote for, how you spend your time, how you spend your money. And it's kind of funny because when I recognize how powerful and dangerous social media was to you guys out there, and we created Bitcoin NYK to be a balance against it, right? Uh, one of the main things we were met with was realizing that people could never fathom or understand just how powerful, important it was. And they don't even understand they're being influenced. They're told what to think. They're being influenced on who to vote for and all of these things. And it's not very healthy for them because it's like a stream of manipulation.
In order to do that, they have to do two things. They need to figure out which ads are going to influence you by collecting as much data about you as they possibly can. And then they need to show you as many of those ads as possible. So social media is free because you pay for it with your time. Their profit is directly linked to how long they can get you to scroll. And every social media platform is in a battle with each other to capture as much of your free time as possible.
What's funny about this, guys, is that he's saying that you pay for social media with your time, and he's right. So, although it's being marketed as being free, it's not really free. You're contributing and making a lot of money. And I think he's going to get into exactly how much money. And what's interesting about that, guys, especially in the universal basic income community, how they're always talking about, well, we can't, how are we going to pay for this? How are we going to fund giving everybody $1,000 per month or whatever the sustainable amount is? And they're always talking about they don't know where to find the money. Where is the money, right? And isn't it interesting that we got the money and we're paying for it in time, and the social media sites are finding a way to extract that money and put it in their pocket, not yours.
So let's run a thought experiment. I want you to ask yourself, how much would you pay for your favorite social media platform if it charged you a monthly subscription fee? So pick the app that you use the most and raise your hand if you would pay at least $5 a month. Okay, how about $10 a month? 20? I don't see any hands anymore.
That's interesting too, because look, so as it gets up around 20, a lot of those people, I'm sure a lot of those people fell off before he even got to $5, because most of us use social media free. The majority of people I meet aren't paying for anything on social media, right? But it's starting to dwindle away as he goes up higher with it, right? As far as how much you're willing to spend on it. So let's see where he goes with this.
Well, let's do a quick calculation to figure out how much we're effectively paying for an app like TikTok. We'll assume that you value your time at a rate of $20 per hour, and you're spending 2 hours a day on the platform, or 30 days in a month, so you're effectively paying $1,200 per month for TikTok.
Look at that, guys. And remember, TikTok is just one social media site, so very realistic numbers too. The way things going now, minimum wage is ideally supposed to be around $15, right? The average person is probably making a little bit more minimum wage, so they might be around, $20 or something like that, right? So he kind of averages out around $20, $2, 2 hours, just 2 hours a day on TikTok. And many of you guys are on several social media sites, so that comes out to $1,200 per month. Now think about this, like especially in the universal basic income community, right? Where people always talk about how we're going to fund this, and they don't have any money to put forth to any of these ideas, right? They would only need to construct a social media site like we've done here, and what we're doing, we're proving this can be done, and where the $1,200, right, is being circulated back to the social network system. But imagine this. Imagine if the social media companies, instead of highway robbing you and taking all your value, they only took like $200 per month. that would still leave $1,000 per month in your pocket. That's paying the universal basic income right there, in theory, right? Of course, we can expand this up. We can extrapolate this up. That's only on 2 hours a day, right? But we could do so many things with a model like this.
So when you start to do this kind of analysis, it quickly becomes clear that most of us are drastically overpaying for social media.
Do you understand that, guys? That even though you don't think you're paying, that you're paying just for 2 hours a day on social media. So think about these people who are on social media all day, 8-10 hours a day. You know what I mean? They're getting no value for that. Just think about that, right? So what we do with our project is start to make a great deal more sense to you. And if this is your first time watching the channel and trying to understand what it is exactly we do here, we would invite you to subscribe to the channel and take your time with it. This might be some of the most important information you're going to come across. And understand what we're doing with our project, because we're actually turning the tail on, or turning this on its head, where we're starting to extract that value and get it back into you guys' hands, creating new money in a new area of funding, a new system of solutions to this UBI problem. That could be a big movement forward on the idea of UBI, right? So, and that could happen, but it all is going to depend on you guys, right? And do you care about the utilization of your time? Because remember, it's going to even get worse, guys, in the future, because we're talking about all this automation. What are people going to be doing? Still overconsumed by information, right? But they're not going to have jobs, right? So they're going to still have to find ways to get money, and they're going to still be giving all these mega companies, their time and their effectively their money.
My ask of you is this: figure out what it means for you to get a good deal out of social media platforms.
But you guys aren't doing that, because many of you guys who watch the channel, you haven't even joined our universal basic income platform yet. I watch you guys every day not join, right? And like the host of this video said, remember, it's you that's getting the bad deal. He's explaining it to you. You're doing it all the time, every day. You're hurting yourself. You're getting the bad deal of the stick. And you're losing your life at the same time, because you're giving 93% of your life to staring at a screen. Come on, guys. We got to do better.
To do that, you have to do two things. You have to ask yourself, what value do these services provide? And second,
none. The waste, the stupidity we see on Instagram and TikTok every day. Guys, this is an opportunity for you to join BitcoinMYK.com. If you don't be lazy, right, and if you don't want to spend 93% of your time staring at a screen and getting nothing of it. See, the difference basically comes down to this, guys. If you're staring at the Bitcoin MYK website, it's paying you back universal basic income. Now you can interchange that time for life, because that's what money is. It's units of packets of energy, right? It's packets of energy and time that you gave away somewhere, whether it be a job or something like that, and you transferred that value into that. But now you can get it back, and you can release it and use it over here. See, money buys time, right? That's what it does. It buys time and energy. That's what you need to understand.
Again, you have to ask, how much of your time is that value worth? Now, I want to be clear that I am not saying social media is without value. It can be an incredibly powerful tool. It can foster relationships. It can introduce you to new ideas. It can even spark social movements. But we need to learn to use it in moderation.
In moderation and properly, to where it's advantageous to you. The complete opposite of what you guys have been doing with your social media experiences.
Don't let yourself get to the age of 90 only to look back on your life and realize that while you were trying to avoid FOMO, you actually missed out on living. That free time is your most valuable resource. Do not give it away for free. Thank you.
Could he have said it any better than what I've been saying since I created this platform, guys? I don't know how to say it to you guys any clearer than that. You guys seem like you don't care. But maybe this guy will get through to you in this video, in this TED Talk, and helping you understand that how you're paying an expensive amount of money to use social media, how you're getting the short end of the stick, and you're not even aware you're being screwed. You need to join Bitcoin NYK today, guys, to fully understand what's happening. But that's all I'm going to say in this particular video. Guys, if you like content like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and until next time, as always, take care of yourselves and each other.